Welcome, my name is Gemma Haley. I'm a criminologist and I'm talking about what I want to talk about, which is child abuse. Does it really take place in institutions? I did this for my criminology project. Why not? Right? So let's get to it. I think that children are more likely to be hurt because they're not cared about as much as what a parent would care about them. Yeah? Unless you get really kind people in that system. I wonder if that's true. Okay, so there's been cases that have been brought forward now, so many cases, against children who have now been older to talk about what's happened to their experiences being in care. And in their experiences of being in care, how this has impacted them emotionally. And there's been physical cases as well where social workers have been sacked. The LAs have been sacked for misconduct and treating the children unfairly within care. Now, this can obviously be a direct understanding to why a lot of LAs have actually gone bankrupt recently, and that it's going to continue. Now, this is obviously a circling effect, but who's bailing them out? The government, because it's the government's fault, because they work for the government. So if you think about it, put it all together, some of these cases are quite severe. Like, you have, rape allegations from social workers. You get, a lot of things that are coming up now about how state, because social services, have dealt with these cases, and the government has had to bail them out. Now, why does the government have to bail them out? Because they're the ones that are doing it. They're the ones that have the judges in the positions of power, ordering these children to be in care. And why is that? It's money on their heads. So it's a circulation of power, it's a circulation of money, it's a circuit. All right, and it's not your fault. For anybody who's been in these situations, it's not your fault. All right, so don't think it is. But why this happens is because it's a soliciting. It's systematic. But you're not gonna cure this problem of these children. And understand from a government perspective, just paying off these LAs, that's not gonna change the dynamics. It's just gonna okay it. And it's quite disturbing, fag burns, scratches on the hands, blood blisters, bruises. Being told to keep secrets. What else? Separating children from families. It's all like corrupt. There's an aspect of corruption taking place there, isn't there? So if the government are going to bail people like the LAs out, that justifies the LA's actions to continue with their whatever it is that they're doing, forms of abuse, right? And what you got to realise is that these people, all of them, a lot of them went into that power, that frame of mind where they were going to help people, and they haven't. So they've dishonoured their own sanity, their own self, by being a social worker and actually conducting like that, or a solicitor, or a barrister, or a lawyer, or you went in there on purpose to do that. That's the kind of person you are. Because a lot of child offenders shouldn't actually be in the roles of, these child services. They shouldn't be there. Okay? They shouldn't be there. Sex offenders, child abusers, and people who hurt little children shouldn't be in them positions of power. Why don't you turn them people in? Put them in prison. Put them in jail. Do you understand? Getting things taken away from them on purpose. Constructive dismantling of families. Okay, that's what it pertains to. So then you've got the children that are older going in, suing you, blaming that one social worker when it was probably about 3 of them, and the judge as well, who said it was okay for them people to go into care, those children to go into care. So where's the justice in that? Where is it? Okay, there isn't any. It's sad because what it's done is just promoted aspects of, there's no accountability, there's no transparency in these cases. And, you know, files can be swapped and changed. And then what happens is the person's punished who's trying to defend them children. And a lot of times why this happens is to keep it hidden. Is to continue doing what they was going to do in the first place. So if that was a structured dismantling, then it's systematic and it's not low-level corruption, it's actually a high-level corruption that's taking place because nobody's getting in trouble for it. Nobody's being seen that, you know, as a judge, this is wrong. I'm showing you evidence for blah, 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 and Joe blogs, and this is happening, and why isn't it being seen too? And it's ignored. But then the judges get away with it. They sit and get away with it. They're not learning anything. They're not learning anything new. They're not understanding the situation. They're not learning anything new. They're just being punitive. It's a degradation of a state. So by the time you've finished and you've left as a judge or as a social worker, it's just going to stay the same. You don't want to improve this world. It's a set demoralisation and destruction of families, especially those children. They're still developing. So let's get into this. Social workers, you know this. You spent 3 years studying how to look after children and to understand the development processes, the deterioration that can come from putting the children in traumatized situations where there's no emotional support for them. So you know this. So why do you do it? Your whole career was supposed to be protecting them children. I know one social worker, she said to me, "We don't protect children, Gemma." I was like, wow, how disgusting are you? How disgusting. You know, I just think sometimes they're in the wrong job. They probably need to go into like financial accounting or something like that. People that say stuff like that. Or they probably just need to like find their inner child again because they've lost it. They'll die probably not having it. They'll die not having it. And the reason why they probably do it is because they take it away from other people because they have it and they want to take theirs because it makes them feel better. So what they do is it makes them mentally feel better to take physically away families, and it makes them feel mentally strong, to have a strong status mentally, when in actual fact all you've done is lied. So it makes you weak. It makes you weak because you've gained something material for somebody else's innocence, spiritual one, physical, because you've taken it upon yourself to lead a demolition on families and children, and you've left it and left it and left it and left it and left it to the point where, you know, you don't want to help. That's not the point. Okay, they don't want to help. So what happens is especially as well, if you've got solicitors and they're not giving you all the information, that's illegal. If you've got people giving you wrong names, that's fraud. If you've got people that are putting down false information, that's gross misconduct. If you've got people that within these systems of power that aren't being honest about you or aren't willing to help you, well, they're not supposed to be in their role. Okay, so if you're a person and you have an MP and you're asking them for help and they say they can't help you, well, that's you're not. Where do I go? Help me. And then they don't help you, and then they give it back to the people who have gross misconduct against you. For example, like a solicitor. So if they go back to a solicitor when all you're doing is trying to protect children from child abuse, then what role do you stand? Your position is flawed. Your children will be ashamed of you. And this is the reality. This is a knock-on effect. And they'll all know. And then when you pass over, who's going to protect them? There's a lot of discrimination that can come from these games. And to floor somebody and smear somebody because you've made lies about this person that aren't true. And people must be like, well, they must be true. And it's not. And it goes to show that it's a controlled demolition, systematic, and it's high-level corruption because they're allowing it to continue again. So the government are bailing the LAs out, so they're allowing it to continue. So what that does is it causes a deconstruction of a state, okay? So there will be a time, if this is continued, children will be in workhouses, okay? Children will end up being sold off to work as child labour like they used to. If this got really that bad, let's hypothetically go there, because it did happen once in the past. But this is why, because they're not looking after the children properly. And then this is how diseases can break out. You know, like that one with the chest, and you have to have that big jab. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? So this was the lung problem, wasn't it? Reminds me of coronary cancer. So that's the lungs. So what they did in the past is they told the children, because they couldn't they had no capacity for them, right? So this is from the past to the present, and how you can see trends throughout society and how it can happen again if we're not careful. So I'm not being over exaggerating when I say this, even though it sounds like it, because we're like, this doesn't sound like our world. No, it doesn't sound like our world at all, does it? Because we're not there in that world. That's our family's generations, okay? So if we remember, we take that with us, we understand that it's just a downward spiral, okay? So we have to really be careful about how we go about just like giving the government giving money to LA to bail them out. There's reasons why they did that, okay? It's because of social services. It's because they keep being sued, okay? For the children, what they've done, they've put them in care, and the solicitors are suing the LA. Now this is right, it should happen. But we should have more people, more solicitors on that gauge than on actually taking children in the first place. Because you shouldn't take children from their parents. The LA don't have a right, I don't believe. I don't believe they should have a right to take children. And for the judges to do it as well, then that gets to the point where we are now breaching high-level corruption in the state. And then when this happens and it's accepted all the way to the top, then be prepared, because there may come a time where it happens on a grander scale and you can see it. Now I can already see it happening anyway. However, people won't, and that's okay. You can judge me, you can say whatever you want about me, okay? I don't really give a crap, right? I'm not here for you, I'm here for the kids. Why? So people can slag you off, talk crap about you behind your back, but ultimately we know that this happened in the past and it can potentially happen in the future, okay? Maybe not in our era, but maybe in like Joe Blogg's era, who's 80 years old. He knows. He knows. So, they must want it to happen again. And then what kind of world do we live in? It's not justifiable. Take children off people where other people have committed fraud and lied, gross misconduct. And then you're laying it back into the hands where the people are actually doing it, child abuse. And then it's hidden because there's red tape around children. It's very concerning. And for people in positions of power at low levels, they can't help. Then we have to realise what's actually going to happen in our state. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, she did. No, I just see trends. I just see trends. And I know. And people get a kick out of doing it. And you'll see. People get a kick out of doing this. It's quite sad, really. It's like, it reminds me of like bullies when you're at school. You know, it's past the joke now. And it's like, oh, it's too far, you've gone too far now. I think we need to stop now. You know, it's just a little joke now, it's gone too far. It's like that. And it's like, hang on a minute. They're not stopping. They're not doing anything about it. Right, it's gone too far now. Right, okay, shit, there's child abuse happening now. All right, okay, yeah, you're not going to stop. Oh, government systematic abuse on single mothers and children. Oh dear. Oh dear. And then you realise that they just want to put you in a mental home because you're talking about it. You can't put me in it because everyone will know. And I ain't copping it anytime soon. Am I? Got my whole life ahead of me, haven't I? And so have they. The children of the world. Royal Art Change with Gabriella. Gemma Haley. Criminologist. Mummy of two.